Welcome to the Brand Identity Design Podcast, guys. My name is Jason. This is actually a special announcement just in case if you're wondering why there are two episodes for this specific show. So, I want to let you know that what really happened while I was actually in the process of interviewing or in the process of interviewing my guests, due to a certain time difference confusion, my guest was not able to make it. So, what I did is that I went ahead and I had a fun conversation with my friends. And after a couple of minutes, or you can say maybe an hour from there, my guest did show up and she apologized. So what I did is that I've divided the episode, the 3 hour episode, into two segments. The first section would be the interview, and the second section will be a part two, which you can say it's like an after show. So thank you so much for your love and support. I hope this insight helps you to understand why there are two parts of this specific episode. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. My name is Jason. I am a designer myself. And currently, we are doing a series called as the Dark Side of Entrepreneurship. And today we would be discussing about the science and psychology of goal setting. I actually need a volunteer today because the guest who I had scheduled today, I'm not able to reach out to her, and I'm not able to get any response. I think there could be some sort of an emergency which I'm not really aware of. So I would recommend anybody in the audience who would want to volunteer to this conversation. I would greatly appreciate it. Please raise your hand if you would like to come up and we can have this discussion today. So today's conversation is mostly going to revolve around goal setting. I'm going to share some of the tips which I have when it comes to what I do generally to do goal setting. So let me give you a little introduction about my guest. So Lisa, who is not here at the moment, but she's a very, very cool person, to learn from. So she's a creative alchemist and entrepreneur who is based out in Byron Hinterland, Australia. She has over 30 years of experience in advertising and design. And Lisa has kind of seen it all because, I've heard her doing role plays, and she kind of knows everything about the design business and the advertising business. And she has also worked with many large brands like Sotheby's, Toyota, Ray-Ban, Levi's, Penfold Wines, and many new smaller startups as well, building their businesses into successful brands. Now, Lisa has also done her master's degree in behavioral science and advertising. She currently serves as a business mentor for Australian government female founders program via Zoom, and for Australia Award Alumni PNG, which I have no idea what it means, but it's a female initiative facilitating mentorship and leadership and confidence. She also does 2-day workshops on communication and confidence. So I'm just gonna send out some invites to people who I have on Clubhouse. If you guys would like to help me out, that would be pretty cool. So just gonna invite a few of my friends on Clubhouse, and if you are on LinkedIn, feel free to raise your hand, and I would be able to bring you up. So thank you, Melissa, Alma, and Della, and thank you so much, guys, for joining the stage. I hope you guys are having an amazing Wednesday.
Hey, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. Thank you so much for asking, Melissa. How have you been? And thank you so much for coming on stage and helping us with this podcast episode we have for today. And I'm just also going to invite Tiffany and Tristan up also. So guys, we had a small issue. My guest could not show up today, unfortunately. This happens when you do live shows. So thank you so much for being here. Let's actually discuss a goal setting. So I'm going to ask everybody a common question, and maybe, we can have this conversation back and forth. So according to psychology, okay, goal setting as a definition. Goal setting is a psychological reference to a successful plan of action that we set ourselves, and it guides us to choose the right moves at the right time in the right way. In a study conducted on working professionals, Edwin A. Locke, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but he's a pioneer in the field of goal setting, found that individuals who have ambitious goals had a better performance and output rate than those who did not. So, I wanted to actually ask everybody who is here on stage, I wanted to understand what is your thought when it comes to the subconscious mind. Do you think it has any sort of role when it comes to achieving your goals based on your life experiences? Or do you think there is something more than that? So, let's actually hear from one friend at a time. So, let's start with Melissa. Thank you.
Hey, so can you repeat the question?
All right. So the question is the role of the subconscious mind when it comes to achieving your goal. Do you think the subconscious mind does anything, to help you to achieve your goal? I think it does, personally speaking. Okay. But, I'm not really sure, like, what you think, like, what are your thoughts on it? And it's not necessary you have to need to have a right answer. Like, we're just discussing and just brainstorming here.
Sure. Yeah, I absolutely do agree 100% that, yeah, your subconscious mind does absolutely affect. Yeah, that's a great question.
Right.
But yes, I
Abs-
do agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's actually hear from Alma. So, Alma, how are you? So nice to see you. What do you think? Can you think of an example? Maybe you may feel that subconscious mind has helped you to achieve your goal.
Thank you for having me up, Jason. So I'm not really So I think genetics has a lot to do with goal setting also and achieving your dreams. Personally, I was adopted and I always grew up feeling like I wanted to do something different instead of being in the workforce. And when I reunited with my birth mother, I found out that she was a small business owner in Central America. And I had always had a desire to have my own business. And I never really understood why that was because the environment I grew up in was not in agreement with what I believed deep inside of myself. But once I connected with my birth mother and found out that she was doing that, I realized that it was deeply embedded in me genetically to want to do this. And I have started my own business. I am a small business owner as a publisher. And I think that maybe it is psychological. I'm not sure. But I believe definitely that there is biology in that.
I appreciate you giving us a little backstory, Alma. Like I completely understand where you're coming from, and that is super super cool. I'm just saying. So kudos to you for taking all that, you know adversities and trying to make the best out of it, and you trying to walk on the same shoes as what your mother did and trying to learn from it. That is super super cool, so I applaud you for that. I also want to say that my good friend Karen on LinkedIn has also joined. Karen, we are really sorry. I had a little issue. I'm guessing it is the time zone difference which is causing confusion with some of my guests. So, Karen, thank you so much for being here on LinkedIn. How are you? So nice to see you. Is it
Well, thank you, Jason. Thank you for the invitation. Um, time zone, was it like as in summer? The daylight savings is what I'm looking for. Sorry, it's midnight here, so I'm still trying to process. As for goal setting, I would say that in my life, when I have made conscious decisions and set goals, it's definitely been a lot more achievable, and it's attracted more opportunities my way as well, and definitely opened up a lot more doors moving forward. I think sometimes you have to trust in the process, but yeah, it definitely, I think when you set intentions, it helps move you in the direction that you want to, rather than letting life just take control of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, now many of studies have actually shown us, and there are countless amount of articles written about goal setting, and it states that we train our minds to think what we want in life, work towards reaching it. Our brain automatically rewires itself to acquire an ideal self-image, and making it essential as a part of our identity, like you said, Karen. So yeah, that's what I feel about goal setting. We would actually try to see if we can get more details and specifics about this conversation. So, I mean, what I'm concluding is that subconscious mind plays a really important role when it comes to achieving goals. I wanted to understand people's point of view. How do they handle the complexities of goal setting, especially in business? Because sometimes, you knowing a goal does not mean everything. You have to set them. You need to know how to set them, when to set them, how to fix it when you run into issues. How do you know whether it's actually worth pursuing it or no? So I wanted to get everybody's take on this. So Karen, maybe we can start from you. What do you think?
I remember when I studied business, we did like management, a management unit, and I see it quite often in other courses that I'm doing currently, that you have your plan, you set your goals, and then obviously you need to take action and implement it. And then there is a review process where you need to adjudicate where you're at, and be open to evaluate and readjust. And it's like a circular process in achieving those goals. So it's not just enough to set your goals. You need to take that action and give it that hard work, and put the energy towards it. And you need to be able to evaluate. I guess from this my accounting point of view speaking as well, but it takes place in other goal setting as well, as having that clarity to evaluate whether what you're achieving is what you want, and whether you need to shift the post. Does that
Yeah,
resonate
absolutely.
with anybody else? Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Karen. I deeply appreciate it. I have a few other friends who actually joined our stage on
Sure.
LinkedIn as well as on Clubhouse. So I'm going to go to Della. Della is also a close friend. Thank you so much, Della, from Clubhouse. How are you? So nice to see
Hi,
you.
I'm doing. It's good to see you too. I'm doing great. So I love this question. I love the topic of this room because this is something that I always struggle with. So when I think about the question that you ask, my subconscious mind wants to stay safe and comfortable and not do anything different. But I found that when you're running a business or trying to start a business, like that's not going to help you. So I'm trying to, me being safe, me being comfortable, it's boring. I get bored. So I am trying to be more intentional, and I think that was what Karen just mentioned about setting these intentions. And I was here today because I wanted to know more about the specifics. It's very easy for me to just be very general about my goals, but that's not what I feel like successful people do. They talk about numbers and facts. So it's just about me trying to be like, okay, I want this, amount, number of people to join my, my book club, or to join my classes, or to join my program. I need to reach out to this, number of people to keep my, my business going forward. So that's why I was going to come in and listen in today to see like what other people are doing to get more specific, to not be afraid of the idea that if I set a goal and I don't make that goal, the letdown that I'll feel within myself. So that's just kind of where my thoughts are going around this question. This is Della, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that awesome share, Della. And you're absolutely right. Your mind is programmed that you stay safe because instinctively it wants to safeguard you, protect you, ensure that survivability is there. At a subconscious level, but business does require to take huge amount of risk, and it's this risk which actually gives you the joy. It brings that joy, because when you take those risks, the profit really, the results which you get from out of it, I think that just it is pretty amazing. The feeling is absolutely wonderful. So
Can I second that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think um, when I have had the chance to dare and step out of my comfort zone, that's when I've grown the most. Yeah, because I agree with Della. I've been the kind that likes to play it really safe, but when I've been forced to step up and go into territory that I'm not familiar with, that's when I've had the most growth. And can I also just say that, general goals, I guess, is a thing that I've been taught about, which is called SMART goals. I'm not sure if people are, I'm sure other people may be familiar, may not be, but making your goals really specific and measurable, and I can't remember what the whole acronym stands for,
I think
but
I think I have it. There are actually a couple of models. There is EEE model, then we have the SMART goal model, and then we also have SMARTER model, which has a
okay.
ER in the end also. We would get into that very soon. I think at a face value, I think if you break down goal setting, it consists of four simple steps. It's one is to make a plan.
Yeah.
Second, explore resources to identify if that is achievable. Third is to be accountable to ensure that you can get these things done. And the fourth one, according to me, is that you need to give yourself reward and regular feedback, and
Yeah.
go back again just to make sure that you're sticking to the plan. So yeah, I think it's in
And
conjunction to what you said, Karen. Go ahead.
yeah, and I think not to be judgmental of yourself, because it's so, I think we are our own worst critic, basically, or can be.
Yeah. Yeah, you should not be very judgmental. And I think when it comes to taking risk, we need to take calculative risks. See, the social media or the media out there portrays that whoever takes a maximum risk gets benefited, and it is somewhat true, but it's not necessary that everybody would be in the same situation to take that kind of risk. Let's say that you have family, you have commitments. Maybe the amount of risk you can take is only to a certain extent, and you should be okay with it. Maybe the process will be slightly slow for you, but it's okay. At least you're doing something about it, you're working towards it. It's better than going all in. Sometimes going all in may not really be the right idea, so it's better to have a little safety net and move slowly and steadily, as long as it's heading onto the right direction. I wanted to welcome Tiffany, who is also a licensed mental health counsel, and she's also a very close friend from Clubhouse. How are you, Tiffany? So nice to see you, and I know you have a lot you
Hey.
have to share.
Well, yeah, I was listening, and first of all, Jason, take a deep breath. You had a goal for today, and someone didn't show up, but you're learning how to do this so well. I'm so proud of you. How to just run with it and just do your thing. I'm very proud of you. But these kind of things where we have goals in mind, you have a live show set up and everything, and someone doesn't show up, I hope they're okay. But yes, like you said, I am the licensed mental health counselor, and so goal setting is why people come to mental health all the time. They come to a counselor because they also often, a lot of my clients come to me because they're looking for motivation, and they want to have some sort of change in their lives, and I'm a solution focused therapist, so this is right up my alley. That's why I was frustrated. I'm like, oh, I got so much to say, like what Della was saying and everything, like risk taking, all this stuff is just like so exciting, and that's what makes life interesting. If you stay under a rock and wish you had followed your dreams or wish you had made a goal, often we live with regret or resentment or something like that, or guilt. And that's nothing, nobody wants to live with that. Those are horrible things to live with. So often, and I know most of you guys have heard of like a vision board. A lot of times people make vision boards or set goals in order to achieve them, whether it's long term, whether it's a month from now, to a 5-year plan, to a 10-year plan, or whatever it is, to what we want to do. And goals play a dominant role in shaping the way we see ourselves and how we see others and how others see us. And a person who's goal oriented, so to speak, or goal focused, is likely to have a more positive approach towards life. And they're also probably more likely to perceive life's failures as temporary setbacks rather than, oh my gosh, I can't do this, or it's just a bump in the road kind of deal. So it's a more positive mindset to have a goal and be a risk taker and take chances on yourself rather than personal shortcomings. That makes sense. But it's so great to have goals and have that as an effective motivation to help you create like the changes that you want in your life. And everything, it can be changed. Everything in life can be changed. We can change our job, our career, our identity. Everything can be changed except death. And they say taxes too, but I've heard people cheated on that too. So I don't know. I don't, but yeah. So the one thing that I've worked with a lot of people, then they end up in hospice, sadly. And when they're in hospice, they're not sitting there saying, I wish I wouldn't have followed my dreams. They're more like, I wish I would have. I wish I would have gone back to school. I wish I would have tried my own business. I wish I would have taken those chances. I wish I would have seen Mount Rushmore or Europe or whatever these things. Like if you had one last week to live and you knew it, what would you do? Excuse me. So these goals, they come from the frontal lobe. And I don't know how I know this because I'm not a neurologist. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, but I've
What's a
interviewed a lot
lobe?
of people.
What is a
Who
lobe?
knows? It's part of our brain.
Okay.
It's a lobe. You know what, Jason? I really don't know. It's like an earlobe. All I know is that I worked with enough people that study the bullied brain and neurologists and people that have been on the radio show. I'm a licensed counselor, but I also host a live radio show that's been on for 8 years regarding ending the stigma on mental health called Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. So after interviewing these people, it kind of absorbs, but it's the frontal lobe in our brain, excuse me, that is responsible. It's the brain's logical problem-solving portion, and it defines the goals and digests it. So there's so many parts that like we can get into of goal setting, everything, but it's such a beautiful thing to want to have a goal and then set a way to achieve it. And in my practice as a therapist, I'm solution focused. So people will come to me and it's like, I'm unhappy with my job, or I'm unhappy with my relationship, or I'm unhappy with this or with that or whatever. And a lot of times, some things work. And Jason, tell me to shut up if I'm ranting. I just have a lot to say about this topic. So you can just tell me to shut up, or like you guys can interrupt me whenever you want. But I'm dead serious on that. Like I kind of just like roll over, turn on Clubhouse, Jason's show's on, and I say that you have no guest, and I'm like, oh, I hate when that happens because I have a live show too. For somebody not to show up,
I'm personally
you're
positive
being.
it's related to the time zone, because I have this confusion, especially
It's
from.
not the person. It's just that oh crap, like I'm going on live, and what do I do now? That's what I mean. I'm not trying to put down whoever your guest was. I'm not saying that. Who cares? It's just like, you know. And I know I'm allowed to cuss. I'm not going to. But anyway, so back to the problem solving. So I asked my clients, okay, if you want to really find out the root cause of something or change what you don't like about yourself or whatever, there's this one exercise that even I did, and it's really, really hard to do. It's really hard to do because you have to be completely transparent and brutally honest with yourself. And the question is, if you met you, would you like you? Why or why not? So basically, if I was like, I'm just
Yes,
using you,
my
Jason,
answer
as an
is yes.
example.
Yes.
Okay, no, okay. If I had, I'm going to build a clone of you, and this clone actually has feelings. Okay, let's say identically to you, and I'm telling this clone, I want you to follow Jason Thomas around, and I want you to be exactly like him. I want you to have his insecurities, his vices, his sleep patterns, what he does, what he doesn't do, his eating, everything like that. And I want you to tell me, then I want you to come back and be just like him and tell me what you would like or not like. And let's say you're the clone. What would you like about that person? Oh, they're motivated, they're goal setting, da 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 da. I'm not talking about you or whatever, but a lot of people are like, okay, well, that person drinks too much, or maybe they smoke, or maybe they eat sweets at night, or maybe they are late to meetings, or insecure, or don't believe in themselves enough. The brutally honest part of what they don't like usually is longer than what they do like, but we work on that, and that's part of self-esteem. But then you take the exercise with your therapist, which is what I do with my clients, and we go through what they don't like about it. They don't like their hair is too thin, or they don't like the color of their hair, or they feel insecure around thinner women, or I don't know. I just did something like this with another client, and so what we did together is we went through the things that they quote unquote didn't like, and all of it was changeable. Okay, so the person smokes too much. Is that something we can change or not? If you don't like that about yourself, then it's not somebody else judging you. It's something that you don't like about yourself. So what can we change? Or they drink to intoxication, or drink too much, or are insecure about this or that, or all these things can be changed. And then we kind of really evaluate what can be changed, and then why those things exist. Is it something from childhood? Is it something setting back? Is there not enough compliments or verbal recognition at home? Or, there's all these sources that can lead to our own negative self-talk, and change that into positive self-talk and be more confident, and then have that push to achieve those goals that we always wanted to do. It's just one of the many exercises therapy does, is to change that negative mindset of the word I can't. I hate that word. That's the 4-letter word I hate. Can't. There's no can't. It's a won't. The people always mostly can do something, they just don't want to. So
Guys, you're
I
welcome
think
to respond anytime. Okay, in
there's
between.
yeah, thank you. Are you telling me shut up now? I will. I could keep going though too.
You know, I like
That's
what's being said. Oh, sorry.
no. Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, that's actually Alma. So, Alma, please go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, Alma. Sorry, I was just going to say that's neuroplasticity, isn't it? Really, that we're talking
Yes,
about.
yes, it is. And and the way that the brain functions, but not only that, but solution focused therapy, mindset, all of that is neuroplasticity. But at the same time, it's it's taking charge of your own subconscious mind and making choices instead of I can't, making it I can, making a and making a vision for it. Kind of like what you were saying, Melissa, how you were saying you have goals and then forget what you were calling them, but you were on the right track. You're like, I think I'm calling it the wrong thing, but now I can't remember what you called it. Um, but you were right. It's just called different stuff to different people, but it's the right thing. And if you want to start your own business, do it. Like, figure it out. I mean, better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. I mean, most of the time we'll succeed at some point. It just might not be to what we think is where it should be. But that's our
Yeah.
own
Yeah,
personal
but
choice.
at the same time, because I was one of those individuals who jumped into things carelessly, and you should be willing to pay a price as long as you want to experiment. If the price, you're willing to pay, is something which you are okay with it, then go ahead with it. If not, I wouldn't recommend anybody just to experiment thing just for the heck of it, because it does come with a lot of effects, not only for you but also your family and everybody else. Entrepreneurship, does look fascinating. It does sound like a great deal. Everybody wants to have the CEO, managing director, and all these tags associated next to your names. Okay, no matter how much cool it sounds, but there's a lot of fire, which is burning beneath it. There's a lot of work and grind which goes behind it to make it happen. I promise you, when you start your business, you're not gonna know anything and everything. And even if you know something, even if you apply it, there's no guarantee success out of it. It is going back and forth, countless time, to see what works and what does not work. And sometimes, it can take years. Are you willing to actually spend years to make that happen? Because that time is gone. Like, for example, you might miss on birthdays. If you have children, their recitals or whatever, things happen in between. If you have parents, birthdays, Christmas, all those things, if you're willing. I'm not saying that entrepreneurship is all that bad, but it does require you to pay extreme amount of focus on all areas of operation, uh, inventory, onboarding, execution, post sales service, whatever. It does require you to navigate everything, and you are the start and you are the end. It does consume a lot of time. I'm just saying. I wanted to give opportunity to Alma because she was trying to make a point. Go ahead, Alma. And Della, if you want to share anything, also feel free. Alma, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know who was talking about the vision boards, but I got with a group who did vision boards, and I would say that was probably the best thing for me to do, was start putting a vision together and seeing it and seeing the goals that I had set. I've been doing vision boards for years now, and I had, within the last, I want to say 7 years, I had done the bullet journals. So I would get myself my own bullet journal, put it the way I want it, and follow the goals that I have set. And it really helps me stay focused and helps me to see the pathway I'm taking and the timeline that I'm taking for that. And the other thing that I do is yearly, I'll do a write down of reflections of all the goals that I've hit within that year. And that helps me to see how much I've accomplished and see how much I've grown. And it really does. It's like a psychological thing that helps me just feel better about myself, to gain more confidence in the things that I'm going to go into doing, because I see where I have been successful and move forward from there.
That was lovely, Alma. Thank you so much for
Oh
sharing.
yeah, Alma, this is Tiffany. I was talking about the vision board. I'm the licensed mental health counselor, and they work. See, Alma, thank you. Where's our sound effect, Jason?
I have the drum roll one. I could not find a short version of it. I only got the extended one. I wanted to actually welcome Thomas to the stage. Thomas on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything you like to contribute to this conversation we are having?
Sure. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, everyone.
It's the short version of the drum roll. I'm still laughing. Don't do that too many times.
Thank you, and thanks. It's interesting listening to Karen. I think you're in Perth, so you're like me. You're up in the middle of the night. So welcome to another night owl. I think I'm reasonably recent to goal setting and psychology of goal setting, in the terms of, I think I've only kind of found some magic in the last year or so. And what I mean by that is, I think it's linked a lot to passion. I think if you're passionate about whatever subject, whether it's, I noticed someone listening on LinkedIn, Melissa, it's education and that. So whether you're passionate about education, or you're passionate about sport, or you're passionate about making $1 million, or you're passionate about, I don't know, whatever. If you have that
Yes.
passion and you harness, you can harness your goals, and the psychology behind that passion does become a little bit easier. And I think whatever tools you do, whether you do a board or a journal, or you verbalize every day, I guess once you live with your passion, it does become easier. And I think, I don't want to get technical, because I'm not. I think, one of my passions is effective communication and organizational connection and communication. And I was previously a vendor engagement manager into corporates, and one of my passions is communications. So not sure what else I can say, Jason, but yeah, keep whatever your passion is, keep it up and harness that
Yep.
passion, and your goals will come. And also, Tiffany, I know you're. I've
Wait.
met you a few times. I did.
Thomas, you're right on. Spot on.
I did ask you
I
to
used to
connect
get
with
up
me,
to
Tiffany,
get the
but you still
bell.
haven't accepted me. So there you go.
Where? Wait.
So
Okay,
you don't
wait.
like me,
So,
Tiffany.
not at
But
all
thank you.
true. No, wait, hold on a second. I'm glad that you said this. And Jason and Leslie, you guys can vouch for me. I'm way behind on my social media. So where, and I'll find it during the show. Where did you connect with me? And that I haven't accepted it.
On
No, I want to do it right.
LinkedIn. So
It's
I'm
LinkedIn,
passionate
and it's,
about connection. So I'd
you
like to
see,
connect with you,
when you
Tiffany,
I would
Tiffany
like to
and
connect with
Thomas.
you as well. Okay,
And see,
listen,
Jason,
I would like to
Jason.
connect.
Sure.
I'd
No,
like to
I'm
connect
just saying.
too.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I want to.
And I like Tiffany.
Anyway,
She's a bit out there. She's out there.
what do you
She's
mean
not
out
afraid of
there?
saying what saying how she feels. But I'll just say, Jason Thomas and Thomas Condell are well connected because we're connected through the same name.
So
Thank you,
you're
Jason.
Thomas. If you don't mind, what's your last name? I got like over 100 people waiting
Condell.
on my LinkedIn. I'm just okay. I'll find you.
That's Thomas Condell.
I will find
C-O-N.
you.
I'll talk
But
with
you
an
see what
American
Thomas just
accent.
did?
Sorry?
What Thomas just did is not only did he have a goal, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to connect with Tiffany. And yeah, you've known me enough that if by watching my show too and listening to me on Jason, I say what I mean, and I don't have much of a filter. But luckily, I'm not really rude about it. But I do.
No,
what's on my
she's
mind.
good. I have a sense of humor, and Jason knows that. And I think one of the things that gets me through this world is having a sense of humor, because part of being whatever you want to be, if you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to be a Tiger Woods or whatever, is you got to have a laugh along the way, because you're gonna, as Jason just said just a moment ago, that you might miss out on a lot of things to be able to get other things, and there's going to be problems, and there's going to be setbacks, and there's going to be hurdles, and have a laugh along the way, because we're only on this life for a short time, maybe 80 years, maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years, but have a laugh and put it in context, because we're all human, and we're all just we're all kind of connected. And that's my passion, is just my other passion is I'm passionate about understanding the motivation behind people. And so when I hear someone like Tiffany, and I won't suck up too much, Tiffany, because otherwise you'll get a big head, but when I listen to someone who's a little bit quirky, who is out there and has a bit of humor, I like to listen to them more, because I think what is behind this person? What's the psychology behind this? Whether they're an entrepreneur, or they're a champion golfer, or they're a brand identity guru, or they're a fantastic accountant, or they're an educational person. What's their passion? What drives them? And that's what I like doing. Thanks,
Thomas,
Jason.
you want me to accept you on LinkedIn, but you keep calling me out there. Like, what is that? Like, oh, she's out there means like in America. She's like
No, but that's a good thing. As an Australian, it's good to be out there. It's good to be
rather than being tied in the woods. What is that phrase when you were like, you want to either be goal setting or tied in the
you
woods?
guys wouldn't believe. I was chatting with Karen a few days back. No, yesterday, and she said eating a crow, and I was like, "Oh God, you can't eat a crow, right?" And that was really funny.
Oh, is that what I said to you, Jason, about eating a crow? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Something you guys don't know, that I might take things literally when you say certain things.
Oh, he does.
No, please
he takes
don't.
things way literally. We were gonna do a whole show on all the puns and senses.
Okay, Tiffany, just a sec.
that.
Just a sec. Okay, Karen, why don't you explain what is eating a crow?
It's kind of like eating humble pie, but it's like accepting that you were wrong at something. But it originated actually in about an 1800s. There was a war, and some guy, I think from Britain, did something, and the other person made them actually eat the crow. That's what it said when I looked it up. So
the funny thing is, I was under the impression she might be on a certain diet.
No, like seriously? My Lord. No, I eat lots of things, but I don't eat weird things. Well,
I apologize.
But just to explain to Tiffany, so if you're out there, that's a good thing, because if you're out there, you're being noticed. So if you're a little bit different in your manner or your presentation, it's not a tall poppy thing. It's certainly not that. It's uniqueness. It's uniqueness of brand. It's uniqueness of presentation style. I can't explain it. Like I use a golf. I'm a golf nut, right? Just an amateur golfer. But a good analogy is a golfer, say Greg Norman, who's an Australian who lives in America, who you might know or not, but he was out there, and that's kind of his brand, and he became a very, very successful golfer, and then he became a very, very successful entrepreneur. The great white shark, and now he's kind of delved into dealing with the Saudis and stuff like that, and breaking away the American tour to what they call the Live Tour. But regardless of what you think of him, he created a brand. He started talking with an American accent, which was a bit weird because he's got an Australian accent, but he got noticed, and he had this blonde hair, and Jack Nicklaus called him the Great White Shark. And it's all about just it's interesting, people get attracted to someone who's a little bit out there.
I agree with that.
Yeah, well, the one
Thanks,
thing
Karen.
that's really great about that is that, I think I do too. But you got to be okay with being out there. And one thing
sure.
I learned a long
totally.
time ago is, I don't know, I guess just through what life has brought me, like a lot of things to get through. I lost my parents when I was young. Been through a lot, worked in correctional facilities as a psychological specialist. I've seen a lot of stuff that you can't unsee, that kind of stuff, where I just don't sweat the small stuff, to be honest. And I stopped caring what people really thought of me. If I just want to be me, and if people don't like it, then they don't have to watch the show or listen to me. Then they can go do something else.
Suck a left one.
Yes, they can go. That's okay. So the feeding the crow or whatever. So I was trying to say, Jason and I were going to do a show on all the things that I've said to him, and he's actually looked it up. Like, I'm like, oh, they can go suck a left one. He's like, why not the right one? I'm like, because that would be a correct one. I don't know, Jason. And he's like, there's a left one, which means basically that's my way of like saying, I'll tell them to go F off. Another one, I was like, I knew I was doing this to Jason. We were messaging, and I was like, now don't get your panties in a bunch. He actually Googled it because he was like, why?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but Jason's
Why would we
literal.
not? Yeah, so he's like, why would we not buy them in bunches? We would get a better deal.
Oh, that's cool.
I do
See,
that. I'm like,
by
you're so
being
lucky that I'm a
passionate,
kind friend. I'm like,
You're right.
I could really mess with him.
I just wanted to
Tiffany.
say hi
Yeah.
to
But
Leslie.
back to hi, Leslie and Kirk. But no, it's true. But you've got to be confident in who you are and be able to just be yourself and not care. Like, you're not going to please everyone.
Let's hear from Leslie, Tiffany. I think she may have to go early. Leslie, how long do we have?
Hey, I got 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm literally
Let's
transporting the hospital's transporting my mom to skilled nursing. She's just failing and not eating. But I'll tell you, you guys are my saviors. You guys are quirky. You think out of the box. We're all creative, quirky individuals. And I think that's what the beauty of the one thing about Clubhouse is. I met you guys through Clubhouse, and we bonded and connected. And we literally we have not physically met, but it's just an awesome thing. So I just wanted to say,
that.
kudos to you guys. Yeah. So I'm just sending love. I haven't been on really any kind of social media. There's just a lot of personal things going on with a mother failing. But when you do have a parent that passes when you're very young, like Tiffany and I had, you don't sweat the small stuff, just like Tiffany said. And you know what? Life is, like our Aussie friend just said, our life is too precious and it goes by too quickly. And I think that's where I am the survivor and rising above. And I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to set those goals and I'm attaining them. And I'm just enjoying this world we're in and just connecting with awesome, quirky people that I love dearly. So that is my little take, and just love you, Kirk, Tiffany, everyone here. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Leslie. So nice to hear from you after so many weeks. I wanted to, add on to this conversation about some of the main type of goals according to psychology, and I'm sure Tiffany is aware of it. There are three kind of goals. One is called as the process goal. The second is performance goal, and the third one is outcome goals. Tiffany, can you speak on this?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, so while you're exploring things, let me go ahead and tell you what I research. The process goals are the one which involves execution of a plan. For example, going to the gym in the morning, taking health supplements on time, and repeating the same action every day is a process goal. Okay, performance goals. These are the goals which helps you to measure our progress, gives us a reason for continuing the hard work. For example, studying for no less than 6 hours a day, working out at less, quantify our efforts and measuring progress. The outcome goal, on the other hand, outcome goals are successful implementation of process and performance goals. So it's an implementation of process and performance goals. And this keeps us in perspective and helps us to stay focused on a bigger picture. Example of an outcome goal may be winning a sport, losing a desired amount of weight, or scoring a top rank in school. I'm just going to pause there.
I think that you summed it up. You're Googling stuff, though. I mean, come on. This is like therapy 101. But yeah, basically, we're going to achieve a goal. And it's like, to simplify it, either we're going to make a change and try to do it, succeed, or there's like, think about it. We're thinking about a goal, making an effort to do something and achieving that goal, making that effort in action. Like, it's either passively, like just wishing, we say, doing something about it, whether we win or lose or whatever, or doing nothing about it. It's all a choice. We have the choice to make things happen. We have the choice to do nothing about it, but that's still a choice to do nothing about it and have everything remain as is. It's just how.
Hey, Tiffany, have you ever encountered this thing? Like off recently, I think maybe an year or two now, I have started actually setting goals backwards. Like identify where I want to reach first. Okay, and
yeah, we've talked about this. You were telling me stuff that where I'm like overwhelmed with listening to you because I'm solution focused and you're like, I have these goals and I'm like, I'm listening to you and you're like, I want to live in America. I want to own a mansion. All this stuff. I'm like, okay, one thing at a time. What did you want to achieve today, Jason?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna help you out. Like,
yeah. So I mean,
so that's another thing.
Yeah, go
those
ahead,
are
Della.
vision boards.
I have a question. So I like really, really, really resist the specific numerical, like get 10 clients kind of goals or lose 15 pounds kind of goals. Can I just kind of stick with some of these like softer, not like softer, but like if I'm really resisting like putting a number on something, like my goal right now for
it
my
just has
health,
to be realistic, Della. Like, because people ask you to do extra weightlifting when you're not really necessary. You're not supposed to really do it.
I think what Della is doing, I'm sorry to overtalk you. I didn't mean that, but it's just, she's making her goals measurable. Okay, so I'm going to achieve this many or whatever. You can make it like within 5 to 10, 15 pounds or 10 or 15 to 20 or 10 to 20. Make it more like a little bit more forgiving so that you're still reaching a goal.
Yeah, more achievable.
Or, yes. Rather than one specific number. Because those are what you call, measurable goals.
Yeah, I like the analogy of removing average. So let's say that if your goal is related to acquisition, okay, so I would take 3 to 4 months data into consideration, look at the X amount of clients I have got, and the weighted average, let's say, come to let's say 5 or 6. So my goal would be that hit the number 7 for the month of November. hypothetically, or hit the number 8 by November, something on those lines. I think it is more realistic because you have already done so much, and going there extra 1 or 2 clients would not be very challenging. It's practically achievable.
Yeah. Can I just say on setting measurable goals that I think I've always been scared to actually set a measure, but I think part of that, the psychology with that, is being forced to do so. It means you are committing to the goal, and I think that's a really important part of being successful at achieving your goals. Is actually one of my coaches had said to me, decide that you're going to do it. And when you make a decision and you commit to it, and I think also, Jason, you spoke about accountability. It's really scary to be accountable to somebody else, but when you make yourself do that, it propels you so much further forward.
That was a good statement. Jason, one thing I
So wait,
just
That's
before
good.
you start talking, this is Kirk Patrick Miller. Yeah, and he is great with neuroplasticity. He knows a lot about, and I love talking about that in goal setting and the frontal lobe and how our minds work with all this. So I just wanted to formally introduce
I
Kirk.
personally like his timing, like how he started in between.
Ask, how do we connect with Clubhouse people? Just on a side note. So if I'm in LinkedIn, how do I connect with Clubhouse?
Oh, that's true. I like to
Karen,
know the same thing on how we introduced, or how we, and I still can't find Thomas. I was just looking on LinkedIn.
well,
But
Thomas is lost in space somewhere.
I'm not.
I don't see any
Lost.
friend requests.
I know Jason, and I know Karen because I can see Karen's face, and she's in Perth, and I'm in Townsville, which is just around the corner, isn't it, Karen? Ha.
Absolutely.
So I'll just drive in my car from Townsville to Perth,
You can
and
just
I'll
drop
see
over
Karen
for a
tomorrow.
coffee.
Maybe
But
you can go through
I joined
Jason's
Clubhouse.
connections.
Jason is the connector extraordinaire, so he knows Karen and Thomas Condell, but he also knows all the Clubhouse people. So if you want to ask that question, ask Jason.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jason.
I would be happy to
also.
I would be happy to explain that offline, Karen. At this moment, I am
Sure,
positive Kirk is
yeah,
very,
you can
very
drop that.
excited. So, Kirk, let's actually hear from you.
Well,
Yeah.
Instagram's a good way. Click on the pictures, and you should be able to find the people. That way for Clubhouse. For the goals, Jason said kind of a key
She
part,
can't
which is
see us on Clubhouse. That's the problem.
okay.
She doesn't know who
Gotcha.
she's hearing.
It's okay.
So
It's okay.
Della
I'll
asked a
find out
really
from
great
Jason.
question. So when Della was saying, she doesn't like to set a hard one. Oftentimes when I'm working with people and they don't like to set a hard goal, it's because they are typically really a driven individual and the goals they make are not realistic. So it's so far out there. So 70 weighs like, 120 pounds. They're like, I want to lose 40 pounds. Well, it's not realistic. It's not healthy. And it's just part of that personality. So a lot of times, if you have a hard time lower it, it's a lot. And then once you hit it a couple of times, then you realize it's not such a big deal. The second part that I really wanted to respond to is, Jason, you said you set your goals backwards. I found that to be really helpful because if I look towards, like, say, 15 years out where I want to be, it makes it easier to figure out where I need to be in 5. And then it makes the hard work I'm putting in
Absolutely.
the current time
I totally
easier.
agree. Yes. Going
So
backwards
that's
has
kind
been
of, I like that.
phenomenal for me.
When you were talking about the outcome and stuff like that, I've never actually separated the goals out. I think I really only have the last one. I really have never even thought about the process type goals. I mean, I do them just naturally, especially like medication, waking up, taking my medication every day or something like that, or getting to the gym. A lot of those are just habits. But at least for me, I really only see an outcome. And so I'm much more goal driven, and I actually, work with the individuals I work with, especially when it comes to like excelling at school or at the violin. The goals tend to be, or goal driven practice tends to be better and more efficient than like, okay, I have to get through 50 problems. Let's go, go through them. It's better if they do like, say, 5 and they really understand it. So going for depth and having a goal of making sure that everything's really solid tends to work better. So at least for me, I tend to stick with the outcome ones. What were the other two that you had mentioned? I liked both of you gave a great definition for both of them.
So process goals, performance goals, and outcome goals. These are the 3 main type of goals in psychology. And then when it comes to the models of goal setting, we have
kind of like a step-by-step one.
Yeah. So one is the
Right.
E, which is echo, echo, echo. So the first E stands for enlightening us. The second E starts for encouraging us. And the third one is enabling us. And there's also something which most people are aware of. It's called as SMART and SMARTER. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound, and the ER, the extra ER, that is evaluative and rewarding. Okay, but I wanted to ask you something very, very specific, and I want to say hi to Dr. King, who I see in the audience. Dr. King, she's also a child psychologist, so if you're interested, feel free to come up and just help us with this conversation. Please raise your hands. And I wanted to actually ask you, Kirk, very specific questions. It's about the role of positive psychology and its interconnection of it with goal setting. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that, well, 2 things. If people set, well, okay, this is a really phenomenal question. One thing that I am trying to do myself and, trying to get people I work with to do is if they are successful at something. A lot of times, let's say you're doing homework or you're working on a project for work, and you're getting in a stuck place. Well, you have to get it done. One of the biggest problems that I see is that people will go through and they'll fight, they'll do the work, they'll get through or over the hump, but then they never actually reward themselves. They never say, oh, that was good what I just did. I had this huge project and I didn't think I was going to be able to deliver it. I put in extra time and I really did a great job. A lot of times people will go celebrate, but they don't actually remember why they're celebrating. So it's really important. It's called metacognition, being aware of why you're trying to do something. And the reason I bring that up, because it fits in with what you were talking about, being positive. If we have negativity and, when we're setting our goals, it's going to be practically impossible to meet them. If we're negative about being able to reach them, you won't get there. If you're negative about a class, I don't like this class, or I don't like this teacher, or I don't like my boss, every day at work is harder. So if you really hate your boss, it's okay, but every person has something like a redeeming quality. So you find what you can that's positive, and that enhances the overall experience, at least from my personal experiences and what I help other people do. Because if you're staying negative, it's just, it kind of tears up all of your potential, traction towards the goals you want to achieve. Does that answer that decently?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I want other people's take on it too. So
Yes,
Jason.
I kind of say really quick that Kirk's spot on. If we're going to get in our own way, like that's something that a lot of people don't achieve their goals because they listen to other people, or we listen to ourselves because we're our own worst critic rather than our own best friend. And there's been so many times in my career, like even the radio show that's been now award nominated, winning this stuff, but it's been 8 years. 8 years ago, people told me not to do it, that it was going to be too much time, money, and taking on too much. I don't know what I'm doing, la la la. And I didn't know what I was doing, but it sounded like something I really wanted to learn to do. And it's not so much my bread and butter, but it's my passion. And people say that so many people have written books on, I mean, even Stephen Hawking, the genius of the world that sadly passed not that long ago, but I mean, he was so driven to the point where he wrote books on the theory of everything, even when he couldn't even move anything in his body except his eyes. And he's like, at least my brain is not going to be impaired by this illness. And then he said that every man, every person needs to have a purpose in life, to find like their passion and feel like they're achieving that. And if we hold back and we don't feel like we have that purpose because we set back or didn't think that we are capable or anything, like then it's a shame, because we wouldn't have given ourselves a try or a chance to accomplish something great or feel that we have the possibility. Audrey Hepburn said the word impossible, if you split it up, it says I'm possible instead of impossible. Like, I'm possible. And we can take that negative mindset and change it into a positive thinking and positive affirmations. A lot of people, you see the movies and all this stuff, have post-its everywhere. Like, you can do it. You're worthy. You're capable. You are amazing.
And even if
These
you're
positive
not,
affirmations we have
yeah,
to see.
and even if you're not, you can always acquire any sort of skill. I just wanted to add that out there. We are not born geniuses, but you can always acquire it over the course of time. You know, you can learn, you can read books, read articles, develop yourself to reach that stage. Yeah, go ahead, Tiffany. I'm so sorry.
Jason, oh, sorry, Tiffany, you go.
Well, I let Thomas speak. I was going to introduce Darren. I invited up,
Can I just
who helps
quickly
entrepreneurs
endorse?
understand psychology of success and influence. But we'll let him speak after you, Thomas.
Yeah, just quickly, I just wanted to endorse what Kirk just said. I think it was Kirk. He made a really interesting comment about if someone's negative about something, you know, you'll never really get anywhere with it. Just an analogy, real life situation. My 16-year-old son is either really, really good at certain subjects or he's really, really bad at certain subjects. And you know what the difference is? The subjects that he gets A pluses and he gets D's and E's. And the only difference is that he has a passion for certain subjects, right? It doesn't matter what the subject is, but he gets fulfillment out of that. He gets positive endorphins, or whatever you want to call it, and he every time he turns up to that class, he loves the teacher, and he's engaged and he contributes and he does really well. The other subject, he comes home from school and he says, "Dad, I hate her, and he gets D's and E's. And it's not that he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to do that. It's just he has this kind of just his personality difference, or the teacher said that he's no good or whatever. And so he's literal. He's so black and white. He just shuts them down. And so what Kirk said earlier on Clubhouse is totally right. I mean, if you have a goal and you then say, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough, you'll never get there. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, right. This is Tiffany. I'm just going to say, Thomas is right. Kirk's always right.
Kirk is always right.
God, I get lucky.
It's almost sickening. Like, he's usually spot on.
I wanted to say
Kind of
thanks
annoying.
I wanted to say thanks to
Kirk, I love
Kirk,
you, dude.
Thomas, Karen, and Della and Darren, who joined just now. So I want to hear from Darren, and after we listen from Darren and Della, I'm going to start with the rapid fire questions so that we can have some fun towards the end of our podcast, and we can wrap things.
So did Della leave Clubhouse and join LinkedIn?
No, she's here.
I'm
on.
right here.
No, but not on the Clubhouse anymore. So she's on LinkedIn then?
Now she's here. She's
I'm
here.
here.
You just have to refresh it. Refresh the do a PTR, and you should be able to see.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
don't forget
Hi,
about
Deb.
Danetta as well, Jason.
Dr. Danette King. She's gonna be on my show next week, and we're gonna speak about adverse childhood experience. It's an episode which I would highly encourage all parents to listen in. It's gonna be very very insightful. October 26th at 12 p.m. EST. So on that note, I just want to welcome Darren. Darren, so nice to see you on Clubhouse. How are you doing? And is there anything you like to contribute to this conversation or my question, which I was asking about positive psychology and its interconnection with of it with goal setting?
Oh, crikey. Huge subject, gigantic. And I think this is probably my favorite subject in the whole wide world, like above and beyond anything else that I do. Um, I've got a degree in the psychological sciences here in the UK, both including standard psychology and elements of positive psychology in there as well. And as some of you already know, something called neurolinguistic programming is something that I'm a proponent of. Um, the science and psychology of goal setting. Do you know what? There's so many things I could say, but I would say one of the main things that comes to mind is I think it's extremely important
Darren,
to
could you
make
check
sure.
your microphone? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I can hear some backfeed, like some sort of vibration when you're speaking. Are you on?
Is this any better?
Okay, go on. Let's listen.
Is this better?
Yeah, that sounds better. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah,
It's just
I
his
reduced
accent.
I've reduced the audio quality to make sure that you can. Yeah, I've reduced the audio quality. I think that comes through a bit better. Um, yeah, I'm just going to make it short and quick. One of the most important parts, I believe, in goal setting is making sure that you do a necessary amount of visual, internal imagery, visualization, in order to make sure that in the moment while you're thinking of the goal, you already know what it is you will see, hear, and feel on completion of the goal after the goal has been completed. If you don't include the what you will see, hear, and feel after you've achieved the goal, then your brain will have no idea what it is that it's looking for. A lot of people do goal setting with a load of talking, lots of talking and thinking and overthinking and all this sort of stuff. Loads of cognitive stuff, words, language, which is one way to get to what it is you want to be thinking about. But I think it's just really, really important that if you've got a goal in mind, that you really have a strong, clear, bright, clean vision in your mind of what it is you will see. And if there's some kind of hearing in there, make sure that the sound of what it is you'll hear is loud in your head. It's clear. You know exactly what those sounds are. You already know what feeling it is you will have in your body once you've achieved the goal, what emotions you will be experiencing. So you kind of get a sense of what it's like to have that goal already, to have achieved that goal already. And if you step into the energy of that sort of stuff now, it enables you and your brain to feel like the goal's already achieved, and it helps to be a bit more motivated towards getting there. That's the most powerful thing. So I think that's what I'll drop right now. But thanks for letting me speak. I'm done speaking.
I just wanted to ask you, Darren, another thing, just in according to what you just shared. If that is the case, then what happens once you reach a goal? Why is that sometimes we don't feel very fulfilled and happy? What is the reason behind that?
Good question. I asked myself that question probably about 20 years ago when I started thinking about things that I want to achieve in life. Um, Human beings generally, according to a lot of the research, I think it's called affective forecasting. Human beings are generally quite terrible at guessing and thinking about what it is what is really going to make them happy in the future. I mean, in this room, how many of you have achieved a goal that you know that you always wanted, but when you got there, you just weren't happy, or you just felt absolutely nothing? Like that's happened to me multiple times. So what it's more about, instead of just only having a goal and moving towards a goal, or even two, three, four, five, six, seven goals, it's more about developing the skill of outcome thinking, the skill of outcome thinking. That way, you're always consistently thinking unconsciously about what it is you're moving towards. So you spend more of your time focusing on the things that you want to get in life, as opposed to running away from the things that you don't want in life. And that's way more fulfilling. So it's much more fulfilling to have a direction that you're moving in, towards the things that you want, as opposed to just having one goal. You know, January the 1st, I will have this goal, and then March the 2nd, I will have this other goal. It's just not fulfilling. It's not rewarding. It's more about developing the skill of goal type outcome thinking mindset. So you're always focusing on moving towards things, but at the same time, now and again it can be useful to cognitively sit down and say, right, I have this goal. But it's way more fulfilling to live a life when you feel like you have a sense of purpose and a sense of direction, and that you're unconsciously on autopilot, moving towards, just constantly feeling good. I hope that makes some sense.
Absolutely, Darren.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. That
I
was a
couldn't agree
I
more.
very,
totally
very
agree.
beautiful
This
answer.
is
Darren's spot on.
this is this is Tiffany Werner, and it's exactly it. We achieve a goal, and then, but the beautiful thing about it is that we continue to go, what's next? Okay, we got to this point, but we want to continue to find even more. Okay, we got there. The best thing and the most adrenaline rushing I have ever experienced is when I have that, I find out that I have the ability to still surprise myself. And it's almost kind of like a drug in a way, I guess, is that we achieve a goal and we're like, wow, and then we want to do it again. It's just almost like, well, okay, we got there, then now what? So it's when, like, we want to keep achieving more, and it's, if we achieved a goal and we're like, okay, we got there, and then just let it go, it would be not as rewarding as if we kept going and see how much more we could do.
It's the
Well
foundation.
said, Darren.
That was one thing I wanted to say that I really liked that Darren said was, it's kind of always a journey. And, Jason, to directly answer the question that you asked, Darren, for me, I felt like a lot of the goals that I wanted to reach were so big. And so the joy of doing it was kind of chunking away at getting there. So when I actually arrived, then I actually was kind of like mourning the loss of a process. So it was actually like losing a friend, because I was so used to like driving and striving for a particular goal. So a lot of times when I actually met it, that's when I kind of crumbled, because it wasn't actually that, yes, I was overjoyed that I was there, but I felt like I had lost something big, which was what Darren had said, with a journey, right? So what he and Tiffany just said were phenomenal. I just wanted to kind of give my perspective and how I felt and why I did.
That is
Yeah, you
super,
like the
super
journey
cool.
instead of the destination.
Well, that is a big quote. Life is about the journey, not the end. It's, we can reach the end, but the journey was the pleasurable thing, like not just
Yeah, all your
ultimate goal.
experiences does come from that journey which you, because that journey is what is teaching you things. The end result is what people are actually observing, but how you reach there, that whole process, that whole adversity, that knowledge you had to acquire to make that happen, that's actually your strength. That's what is making you do the grind, and that's what the results is, what people are seeing. On that note, I just wanted to welcome the comeback coach, and very soon we're gonna start the rapid fire round. We're gonna have a little fun. The best part of at the end of the show, the best part. So the coach, I don't know your real name, but welcome to the stage. I see that you're new. Is there anything you like to contribute to this conversation we're having? Okay, I don't see him responding, sir. Can you unmute your mic, flash your mic, maybe?
He needs to come back. Maybe he's not a comeback coach. He needs to come back. Come back.
You took my line. They're like,
Sorry,
Richard
Tiff.
Kaufman, are you listening?
I beat you, Tiff. I'm quick
Yep,
off
you
the mark,
totally
Tiff.
did. I was like, you're quick. You're quick to find the unmute. Wait, I don't know. In LinkedIn, if you guys have a mute button, I have to go and find to unmute. But oh, maybe he was there. He left, or no, he went to the audience. So
He'll come back.
Yeah, he will come back. Let's start
his
with
profile looked very, very cool. So, but probably away from his microphone. So
all right.
anyway, let's Jason.
Rapid
go on with
fire
your
question, sound effect. Okay, now this would be a common question for everybody on stage. Be ready to have fun. Question number 1. What is the best Wi-Fi name have you seen in your entire life? Starting with Tiffany. The funnier, the better.
I don't understand the question. The best Wi-Fi name?
Wi-Fi name.
I don't know.
All right. Kirk?
I think my dad originally set up a router with Miller Time because that's our last name. So I've seen a couple of the other ones. I'm trying to remember what they were, but there were a couple other ones that were really good. So if I can think of them all, I'll tell you.
Okay, what about you, Darren?
No, I'm just going to say my own one. My Wi-Fi name on my phone, if anyone walks past me on my phone, is Police Federal Network. Scares the hell out of people. Brilliant.
No one's going to be stealing your Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
All right, let's actually hear from Thomas. Thomas, any funny Wi-Fi names you came across?
A few. I just can't remember. It's 3:00 in the morning here. So, but I'm thinking. I'm just, and obviously I can only hear the people on Clubhouse, but I think Kirk should be called Captain Kirk. He just got that nice voice, Captain Kirk. Sorry, Kirk.
What about you, Karen?
Well, you can't see that. He was flashing his mic like he was laughing, but you can't see it. So I will give the explanations for those that can't see the Clubhouse speaker.
Karen, any funny Wi-Fi names you have seen in life?
I haven't really, but I just looked up one and I came up with Swedish Mafia Safe House. I cheated.
Wait! You looked up them. What was it?
Swedish Mafia Safe House.
Swedish Mafia Soap House.
No, Safe House.
Oh,
Safe
House.
I thought you said steakhouse, as in steakhouse.
That's funny.
Safe house for the mafia.
Yeah.
You cheated.
Well, I was thinking.
You googled it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Maybe we can make. I can ask you guys another next question.
It's rapid. Come on, rapid.
What is the silliest thing have you ever seen a stranger do in public? Let's start with you, Karen. Rapid fire.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have called it the silliest, but tonight I was sitting on the floor with my friend when she had a little bit of a meltdown, but I wouldn't have called it the silliest. Yeah, I was very calm. That's a bit boring. So sorry. Next person.
That's okay. What about you, Thomas?
Okay, I've got one for you, Jason, and also the captain and Tennille and everyone on the Clubhouse. So I was in Indonesia 3 weeks ago, in Bali. In America they call it Bali, but in Australia we call it Bali. Anyway, I'm at Bingan Beach, which is in a place called Uluwatu, and it's one of the world's best surf beaches. And I'm sitting on the beach with my wife, and we're looking at this dude. I think he was from Italy, and he had the speakers on the headphones on his ears, and he had his his bathers on, or we call them budgie smugglers. Anyway, he was moving and grooving to the music, and when someone moves and grooves when they've got They've got their earphones on. They look really weird. And he literally did it. We were there about 3 hours, and he was doing it non-stop on a rock for 3 hours. And that was crazy. He looked like he was on drugs, but he was just listening to his favorite music.
I wonder if he was trying to raise money for a charity or something, and you just didn't know about it. He's just like, I'm going to do this for 24 hours as art.
Maybe. Had I got my video, I reckon I would have made $1 million just on the video.
Thank you so much for that share, Thomas. I wanted to ask Darren. Darren, how would you answer that question?
Oh God, that's a tough one. I do know somebody who had donned a yellow Power Rangers outfit and went running around their area just for the fun of it. They thought it was fun, and nobody could identify them specifically. But yeah, I know what they do. Ran around in the freezing cold with a Power Rangers outfit. Yeah, that's about
it. Oh, Lisa is here. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, fantastic. All right. I don't know what to say. Should we restart the show?
Well, I know. I was just like, oh my Lord, I've just got on.
Oh no, this is Lisa Galea.
Yes.
The
Lisa,
guest,
did you get the time
guest
zone
of our
wrong?
show. Welcome to your show. It's almost over.
I know. I was just like, okay, that didn't work out well at all.
But you did a beautiful job.
Man, you had a great show, Lisa.
You're too cool. Too cool for school.
We would do the show again with Lisa, possibly once we finish off this room. I'm gonna do a show privately with Lisa, and I just want to say thanks to Lisa. I'm guessing it is the time zone difference because did you get confused with the time zone difference? I'm not really sure, Lisa.
That's because of the clocks changing. That's what's thrown me because we changed clocks like 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that.
That's okay, but don't be sorry.
Lisa, I'm in Queensland at the moment. I'm in Queensland. There's no excuse. But anyway, I'll let you have it. I'm from town. I'm in Townsville. But yeah, it's bloody early here.
I think because I'm a Queenslander, I've only been in New South Wales for like 3 months or 4 months.
Oh, you're in New South Wales. That's why, of course.
And it's thrown me because we don't have a time change, do we? Normally.
Yeah. Stupid Australian time zones.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's stupid.
But I do apologize, Jason. I'm apologizing to you.
No, that's okay, Lisa. You have been on my show before, so I know there was something with the time zone. Otherwise, you are usually before time. I know how you are. So I'm very, very appreciative of you guys supporting me with the show. What I'm going to do, Lisa, are you okay with me doing it, like restarting this whole thing? Is that okay with you? Can we do it now, or do you want to schedule it for another date?
No problem at all. You can go straight into it if you want to.
Awesome.
Maybe you should close this room and start over, like with the whole introduction of your guest and everything. It'd be kind of hard for Spotify listeners to just go another hour and miss all the.
No.
Get all the Clubhouse people onto LinkedIn so we can all see your faces, because I want to see Tiffany and Kirk's face and Darren's.
I never joined on LinkedIn. I don't even really know how, but
come on,
we will
challenge yourself. Join LinkedIn.
But I do recommend closing this room since we're already doing the rapid fire, because you have the Spotify.
So
what I'm gonna do is start over.
What I'm gonna do is
finish the rapid fire.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and end this recording, which I'm doing now. Okay, restart a fresh recording and go from there. And the thing which we just discussed, I'm gonna put it as an after show, as a part 2 of the discussion, something on those lines. And so Lisa, we're gonna start the show once again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make you a mod, and yeah, I'm gonna stop.
I had a really good answer for the stupidest thing in
yeah. Go ahead. Okay, what is the most silliest thing that you did?
Well, mine's not silly; it's just stupid. But so I actually caught it on film too. So I was with my family at SeaWorld Aquatica. So it's a water park, like with water slides and everything. And I'm in Florida. So, Tampa Bay storm or whatever. And if you're a Floridian, once it starts to rain, you know that it's going to be like, it's going to pass. It's not going to rain. It just doesn't usually rain all day or whatever. So most of the people are leaving, but it was starting to lightning. Tampa Bay lightning is really, really dangerous. Like, just when it starts to lightning, you better get indoors. You don't want to mess around with that. And so we're basically getting off the beach. Most of the people are going into like a restaurant or a covered space or whatever. And there was all these tourists out in the puddles of the rain, playing in the rain while it's striking lightning and everything. I'm like, are they sudden? They're like toying with death. It was just like just playing, letting their children play in the puddles, all these things. Just that was just one of the few that came to my mind. But I actually recorded it. I'm like, if somebody gets struck by lightning, I'm going to have this on recording for the news. I was telling everybody, you don't want to play in the puddles. Get inside. But no, they weren't. I was like, my evil side was like, well, I'm going to catch this on film. What if this happens? But luckily, nobody got hurt. So I don't know. That was what I was waiting to say.
That is lovely.
And then I'm going to close with that.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys helping me and supporting me with the show. At least keep it going and not missing out on it. So thank you so much. I'm going to play the outro song. And Lisa, I want you to just stay on stage. Once the outro song is done, I'm going to stop record, restart recording again. And we're going to do your show again. Okay? Thank you.
No problem.